Setlist, episode 17. Let's just see what Jack Pinchuk brings. It's a dreamy dreams where the high school is dead and stock. It's a great song. Setlist episode number 17. Just me once again today. Our guest, as I mentioned, he kind of took the community by force whenever he first joined, like a culmination of like myself and Coho with like these like outlandish takes, but also like from the Gen Z perspective. But then he had a little bit of Boatman in them as well, with like just really bad internet connection at the start. He has since evolved from that. I think as we all have. But I introduced him in the song. It is Jack Pinchuk.
Hello.
How are we doing?
I'm doing well. Love what you did there in the intro. I'm very excited to be here.
You had reached out to Bar about being on the show, and I was like, oh, I have to have you on because like we had talked previously about our love for the Tragically Hip,
yes.
Previous to you joining the community, no one else had really like had appreciated them, or I mentioned them, and they're like, who? I think Zach Ford might have been the only other person that really kind of knew who they were. So I'm glad that we get to talk about that a little bit, at least at some point through the show.
Yeah.
How was it making your answers for this? Were there any questions in particular that were kind of tougher?
Well, for this, I made like a little rule for myself that I didn't want to double up because I wanted to like kind of talk about different things instead of just the same thing a few times, which it would be a lot of my number one pick if I had done that.
That's fair, yeah.
Like number 2 and number 10 in particular were a little difficult for me to come up with, but those gave me a little bit of trouble. And just looking through the top 500 songs was a task, but I found the one that I wanted to talk about there. But no, I'm very excited to talk about all of these.
Nice. All right. If you've never watched the show before, how it works is I give each guest the same 10 questions. That way, whenever you come back and watch it again, you can anticipate some some different answers. Maybe you know the guest that's coming on there, and it's good. Nice little rhythm to it. We'll get into question number 1 though. Your favorite artist. I feel like we almost need Nazario here as well to talk about it, but he's doing the hit stick right now as we're recording. Who's your favorite artist?
My favorite artist is Pearl Jam. I'm a huge 90s grunge rock guy. It's just the genre of music that when I discovered it, it just connected with me. And Pearl Jam, of like the 4 big grunge bands of that era, without question my favorite. Eddie Vedder's voice is just perfection, especially in 10, and their run of 10, Vitalogy, and Versus is, in my opinion, one of the 3 greatest albums, one of the greatest runs of 3 albums ever. I don't think there's very many misses or skips on those. I have a great time listening to each of them, but 10 is without question my favorite.
Pearl Jam is great. They have been like consistent in terms of like radio play. Like you can never get old with them. And then like Eddie Vedder's voice has aged quite well. Like I know he's what was that movie with Emil Hirsch that where he does like almost the entire soundtrack of it. I forget, but it's because there's that big shot I think of him on the van or something.
Hang on.
It's like Into the Night or like something along those lines, or
Into the Wild, was it?
Into the Wild. That's what it was. Yeah. He has he has such a dichotomy of like this really like soft delivery in those movies, but then you can talk about like 10 or whatever. There's so much like rage and emotion and pain through that album in particular. Like you think about 10 in particular, you have Even Flow, Alive, Black, and Jeremy, like four of not only their biggest singles, but just some of the biggest like rock tunes in general. I feel like every our generation almost knows Jeremy word for word. But going through this album, there was a couple in particular that I really enjoyed. Porch was a really nice deep cut that I enjoyed, and then also I'm not sure if it's on. Is it no on the Brendan O'Brien mix, in particular, there's a demo of a song called "Breath," and I thought that was really cool. I feel like Foo Fighters took a lot of their sound from that, just like the way that the guitar sounds. Also, kind of reminiscent to Smashing Pumpkins as well. But on top of on top of these great albums, their album covers are off the fucking walls. Like they're like you have ones like No Code, which is like it was kind of described as like them kind of going more for like the music and kind of arrangement of it or whatever. So you have like that one, and then there was another one that is kind of similar to that. Oh, Backspacer. Backspacer is an all-time top 10 album cover.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the question that I have for you though is on the self-titled album from 2006. It's also nicknamed the Avocado album, and it's kind of described as like kind of reminiscent of like the Who and that kind of sound. He's kind of doing a little bit more singing in it. Why did they pick an Avocado? Like, are they a California band? I guess they are, yeah. Because Eddie Vedder came from San Diego, so that would make sense.
Yeah, I've never really thought about the cover for their self-titled album all that much. It always struck me as kind of odd, in a sense. Just Avocado. I'm not sure where that comes from, but that makes sense. But I'm just looking for the album covers now. See if I can find one that I would call my favorite.
While you're looking there, I wanted to bring up a fun fact that I came across. Their initial name was Mookie Blaylock. That was their initial song or initial band name. It was named after a basketball player at the time. And it's just crazy to think like how they transitioned from that to like Pearl Jam. Like there's kind of hard to find that transition. But it's crazy to think that they had Once and Alive and Even Flow like in that first set list of songs that they had. Just crazy that that their peak was pretty much as they were forming.
Yeah. Oh geez. I had something I was gonna say, but I can't. It as soon as I opened my mouth, it just left my brain. Whatever. That's something I didn't know. I just genuinely I was not aware that was their original name. That's something that kind of just passed me by over the years, I guess.
Yeah. The other question that I had for you, other than 10, what would you say is your favorite album?
I mean, Versus is probably my answer. Like you've got it's a long ass name, but the elderly woman behind counter in a small town. I believe that's Versus. I'm partial to that one. You have, I believe, Daughters, that album as well. I'm just trying to remember off the top.
Yes, it is. It's a third track.
Yeah, those are two of my favorite songs by Pearl Jam. Like a lot of my top 10 Pearl Jam songs are off of 10. Like you said before, Jeremy, which I have this cool thing that my family got me for Christmas a while ago. It's great. Jeremy, my second favorite Pearl Jam song. Black, fucking shit. Even Flow and Alive. Also, Why Go is probably up there. But if I had to pick a favorite off of Versus, it would definitely be Daughter.
Yeah, I think Daughter would still be my favorite song from Pearl Jam in general. Even Flow is obviously Yeah, Even Flow is gonna get a ton of love just from Guitar Hero. I know Andrew is a big fan of Black, and then like Once is also another great one just to open the record. But even as you get into like even into their later end, they had a bit of a dip with Lightning Bolt. That I know that's kind of considered like in their bottom tier, especially with what Foo Fighters is putting out at the time. But then you get into like 2020 with Gigaton, and what I really appreciate about that album is like it sounds like they're having a lot of fun, and it's not necessarily about like what's the substance of it or whatever. Like we're here just to like we're here to celebrate music, and we're here to have a good time with it. So it's always great that like they can kind of fit into that almost a similar arc that like AC/DC kind of did. Like they had that angsty beginning, but they realized soon afterwards that like they have a nostalgic sort of appeal to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I came to Gigaton a good deal later. Like I like a year and a half, 2 years later after it already come out. Mostly because I had heard pretty mixed things from the people that around me. Like one of my uncles wasn't a huge fan of it. I saw some reviews online that were kind of mixed on it. But other than that, I rather enjoyed it. When I actually got to it, well, not top 3 or 4 of their albums for me. It's still just a lot of fun. It's them just having a good time, and I enjoy that.
Nice. All right, move on to question number 2. Your favorite song to dance to? I have a like an itty bitty gripe with it, but you tell us about it.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't dance. I'm not good at it. I'm not coordinated enough for it. You can ask Cameron Marianne Holzman about it. He tried to teach me how to waltz in high school for our for my school's musical theater production. Did not go well. Bright side though, I didn't have to waltz because I had to go to the hospital for 3 weeks and couldn't catch up on the choreo. So that was great. Little silver lining to that hospital visit. Dancing has never been my thing. I've just never been great at it. However, we live in Canada, land of the legalized plants, and yes,
we call those shed songs here. They're shed songs.
Yes, and that is honestly the only time I can recall just kind of listening to music and just dancing along to it. And the most fun, without question, is What a Life, the song by Scarlet Pleasure that was used in Another Round. Mads Mikkelsen dances to it at the end. It's great. That one is just a lot of fun. It's just a vibe. And yeah, so I don't really have very much connection to like dancing or anything like that in general. It's never been my thing. But what if I were to just like cut loose and dance with some plants, that would be the song, and it's one I've danced to a couple times.
See, when it comes to that plant, I have 2 different effects depending on the variety of plant. With one plant, I find that I'm similar to you. I'm dancing, having a great time. But then there's other ones that I'm just like I'm glued to the couch, and I'm just like I close my eyes, and then just kind of envision the song and like kind of like what the atmosphere would be. I like this one. It's pretty good. My gripe with it, I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, or if they're just kind of teasing the aspect of it. But the beat wants to drop. Like you want to hear that like big boom, like you hear the big drum kick or whatever.
Yeah.
And it like I kind of wish. I'm torn on it because I wish it had the moment, but at the same time, if it does have that moment, it's similar to like every other pop song that's happening at the time. I do like the beat to it. It's really cool. What was the movie you said that it comes from again?
Another Round, starring Mads Mikkelsen.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah. All right. Question number 3. Oh, and sorry, the banner. So the Andrew does banner. So make sure that we display them as well.
Oh yeah.
Number 3. Your favorite song on the current top 500.
Now the current top 500. I mean, you're spoiled for choice here. But I went with one that I actively listened to like a pretty decent amount, and to one that I just really love. And a lot of what I love in music, a lot of my favorite songs in music are like songs that tell a story. It's like my favorite song of all time is "Better Man" by Pearl Jam. Tells a story. A lot of my that's part of the reason why I love Pearl Jam in general. But I didn't double up on this, so I didn't pick Alive, which is on the top 500, and I think that's their only song there, which made me a little sad, but that's okay. So I went with one of what I would consider the greatest rap songs ever by one of the greatest like rap artists. He's one of the most successful anyway, and that's "Stan" by Eminem. It's a song that I think my dad showed to me for the first time years ago. It was probably him. I think that's where I heard most of the Eminem that I heard as a kid. Not as a kid, but like early teens. This song floored me. It's kind of haunting. For the most of the song, it's told from the perspective of this fan who's like obsessed with this rapper, and just feels it feels wronged by him, and you hear this, and the story is almost entirely through letters written by the fan to named Stan to Eminem, and or basically, and except for the last little bit that you hear from the fan, which is an audio recording of him driving very, very drunk, going to end his life and the life of his girlfriend, and it's haunting. And then you get the little epilogue of the song with the letter written by Eminem to the fan, trying to explain to him everything, and then he starts telling telling the story of this dude who drove his car off a bridge, and then he realizes it was that guy was you, and the last line of the song is just "damn," and it's just haunting. It's just a haunting way to end the song. Haunting lyrics throughout. Some of his best, honestly, some of his best lyrics in general, and Dido is phenomenal. Love it.
Yeah. So this is not the first time that the song has been picked. Actually, way back on episode 2 or 3, fellow Canadian Corey Duguay actually had this as his favorite song on the 500, as well as his favorite music video. The music video is also fucking incredible. I love the descent into madness really at the verses get, because the first one it's kind of like, oh, okay, like maybe the letters didn't get to you, and then like the second verse he's almost putting pity on himself. Like the line is like, he always used to cheat on my mom and beat her, kind of like talking about the relationship he had with his dad. And then that third verse is him just like he snapped. And like even when you listen to the radio edits of it, like that, like when it gets to like the drank the vodka, dare me to drive, but then it's like, now it's too late till about where is this? Yeah, from there, and then it's almost till about like after when it gets to like, well, I gotta go. Half of that is it's not even like it's not even changed for like a clean edit. It's just cut out, because I think it has just the mix in there as well, which I think is good, because that message, although dark, like it is realistic. Like we talked about it previously, how like stan is a term now that's just ingrained in pop culture. If you are a diehard if you're a diehard fan, you're a stan. Like you're somebody that just like just aggressively follows this person and wants to be the person. I'm a big sucker for Dr. Dre, like one of the best producers, and like that's without I think without debate or conversation, just that bass line and how he's able to kind of shift it on these three notes and then go back, but then also like just using the sample from Dido, just that opening verse that then being used as the chorus. But also like if you're checking out this song, like go check out Dido's "Thank You" because like it's the complete opposite. Because the chorus of that song gets into like, oh, I want to thank you for giving me the best days of my life, and it's just I like that shift in tone purely just from using just from using that opening verse. But yeah, this song's been talked about to death. I think it's Eminem's best written song. I think I still go for Without Me as this is best overall song because like he's such a good writer whenever he's pissed off, and then that beat is matched to none. But yeah, a great choice. I think this is in the like. I think it's in the top 100, maybe just shy of the of the top
around there.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's gonna stay there in that section for a while. I can't see like maybe Kendrick Lamar takes that place over after a while because he has some similar bite to his songs, but a great choice. Now on to question number 4. Without a doubt, my favorite question of the show. Your favorite concert?
This one's very special to me. For anyone that doesn't know, the Tragically Hip are one of the greatest and most celebrated Canadian bands ever. They've got my pick is Tragically Hip, A National Celebration.
Oh yeah, on Blu-ray, fucking nice. I didn't realize that they put it out for physical release.
Yeah, I don't remember when I got it. It was a while ago, but I've had it for years at this point. It's one that's difficult to revisit because it's the end of the Tragically Hip. My dad this is my dad's favorite band. He went to well over a dozen, closer to 2 dozen, honestly, their concerts over the course of his life. Just anytime he had the opportunity or excuse to go, he went. My mom went to a lot of them with him. Ahead by a Century was their wedding song. Like it's a very important band to this family. And a lot of their music, whether it's Ahead by a Century, they're the last song they ever performed live, Wheat Kings, Fiddler's Green, Nautical Disaster, Last of the Unplugged Gems, or Bob Cajun. Incredible shit all around. Some of the, once again, songs that tell stories. I love them, and that's the Tragically Hip's forte. Locked in the Trunk of a Car is fantastic. They have a lot of underrated gems that people just haven't heard or don't really listen to, which is a shame. But you get a lot of those in this concert, and it's full of great moments, like their last encore with Ahead by Century, but also some really heart-wrenching moments, I'm trying to remember which song it was in, at the 100th Meridian. When he forgets the lines. For anyone that isn't aware of like why this was such a big deal for Canada as a whole, Gord Downie, the lead singer of the band, was diagnosed with, what was it, brain cancer?
Like stage 4, like late brain cancer.
Late stage brain cancer. And this was their last tour. This was their last concert in their hometown of Kingston, Ontario. Maybe the only redeemable aspect of Ontario as a whole is. I'm kidding. I'm from Alberta. What do you want from me? No. And it was broadcast nationwide on TV, and it was just a celebration of their their music, of their careers, and but I don't know if I've ever cried at a concert other than that one. It's I wasn't at Kingston, but I saw it in the at my home with my family, and that was a special experience.
Yeah, it was on, I think it was like August 26th or something
16th
something along those lines.
or
16th, yeah.
20th,
Um
20th of 2016.
yeah.
The date's not
But
clear.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. This day was pretty much a national holiday. Like here pretty much every bar or restaurant was playing the concerts, and then even like at Victoria Park here, like, which is the big park in the capital. They had an outdoor showing of it, and like people just gathered in masses. My brother went to it, and it was just such a great time. Just really like celebrating their music. It was good. Because yesterday I got to go watch 299 Queen Street West, the documentary on Much Music and their history, and Gord Downey is featured in that as well. And like one of the interviews that he does, it's like, I don't see myself as like a celebrity, or Canadians always see themselves as a celebrity. I just hope to be a musician, and like that. And that brought me to my core of like, that's who Gord was. He wasn't about like the fame and the glamour. He wanted to tell a story, whether it was politically correct or not.
Yeah.
The first one they open with, 50 Mission Cap is another great one. Like Bill Murico, hockey player that died after winning the Stanley Cup. It's actually the one that I recommended to Andrew and Cody, of like, if you're gonna check out them for like songwriting, check out that song. I'm a little torn with the concert, because Wheat Kings is my favorite song of theirs, and his voice just doesn't hold up, and it's like it's rough to hear, and like that's the only one that I have a rough time going back to. But like, you get to like friggin' like My Music at Work is another great radio one. Like Twist My Arm. Fiddler's Green is my brother's favorite tune, and it's a great soft one. Little Bones, Poets, New Orleans is Sinking is a great rock out tune. Blow It High Dough is another good one. If I could change one thing about it, though, I think ending it with Grace 2, I think, is the song to end it with, and especially that moment and that close up of him like realizing like, this is the last time I'm going to be singing this song, and he just breaks down, and I think everybody just breaks down with him at that moment, realizing what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little biased towards Ahead by a Century, but I totally get what you're talking about with Grace 2. That would have been an equally, if not more, fitting finale.
Yeah. Ahead by a Century is the song to end, because it's our most well known. It'd be like Eagles not ending with Hotel California. One song that I wish that they didn't, or that I wish that they played, wasn't surprisingly not on our set list, is "It's a Good Life If You Don't Have to Weaken," which actually made my top 500 list. It's a great like mystical aura of a song. Are there any songs that were on the set list that you wish that they had played?
Oh, I didn't get a chance to rewatch the full thing, so I'm just looking at the set list on the back here. I'm not seeing it, so I have to go with, oh no, there it is, The Nautical Disaster. It was on there. Maybe locked in Trunk of a Car is not on here.
I see it as was that on the third encore?
Oh, yeah, there it was. There it is. I'm blind. Here's the thing. You've got a lot, maybe not all, but so many of their hits and my favorite songs that they've written on here. So it's hard to be like, this was missing from it, but it's
Yeah. I know one that gets used a ton for like figure skating or like gymnastics, like long time running, is another one, just because of all the rhythmic beats that kind of fit naturally to that sport. similar to this concert kind of being a national holiday, October 17th, 2017 is the day that Gord died. Do you remember where you were when you found out when he had passed?
That was October 17th, right?
October 17th, 2017.
Yeah, I was at high school. Actually, it was I was on the upper floor of my high school, walking back from the bathroom when I saw the news notification on my phone that said Gord Downey dies at whatever age he was. It was like CTV or something like that. I can't remember. I was at high school, and that kind of wrecked the rest of my day or week. It was rough. That would have been grade 10 for me, grade 10 or 11. I think grade 10.
Yeah. So I would have been like 24, 25. I was doing deliveries for a bakery at the time, and oddly enough, I was just pulling into a hospital that we had delivered to, and the radio host that I was listening to at the time, Joey Adams, he was the host for the rock station. I've had him on previous editions of this show, and he was on, and he was like, and he like just sadness pretty well. Like the life was taken right out of him. And he was like, you know what? We're supposed to have this particular set list that the radio had kind of preset for us. But you know what? I'm probably gonna get in trouble for it. Doesn't matter. Like, we're gonna play Tragically Hip all day. We're gonna celebrate Gord Downey, because that's what we should be doing. He was he was 53 whenever he had passed.
Yeah, he was young to
yes,
too young.
One other thing that I wanted to add, because like, one of the things that I love about seeing a band live is seeing different, like, hearing songs in a new perspective from seeing them live, just because they play a little bit differently. Another buddy of mine, Darcy Campbell, who's also a radio host. He's been very adamant that "Courage" is their best song to hear live.
That's fair.
What would you say is your song that got like the most that got elevated the most from hearing it live?
Honestly, I keep talking about it, but I keep mentioning it, but probably Nautical Disaster. Like, if that line, off the coast of France, and then I'm blanking on the word right now, but immediately after that it picks up. Like, it's a pretty slow song up to that point, and then he goes off the coast of France, and then it drops, and the song picks up, and it was a song that I'd always liked and never loved, but then seeing it live, it gave a new appreciation for me. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Hang on.
But yeah, I'll say it once, and I'll say it every chance that I get. Please go listen to Tragically Hip. If you're a fan of alt rock and just like good storytelling, Gord's an incredible mind that it should be remembered, not only in Canadian history but also just rock history. But as we get on to question number 5, favorite music video. Now, similar to Even Flow from Jeremy, this song got a ton of love from being on Guitar Hero, but then the music video puts it into a whole other perspective. What's your favorite music video?
So, yeah, once again, not doubling up. So you're not going to get Jeremy. You're not going to get Stan here. But damn if One by Metallica doesn't have a great video, or a haunting video, honestly. This song, yes. This is one that my mom actually showed me. A lot of my music taste is in line with my mom's music taste, just 90s grunge, just Metallica, like rock, 80s rock. That's kind of what we our music taste overlaps in those areas. And one is without question, in my opinion, Metallica's best song, and honestly, even stacking up against like Stan and Jeremy for music videos, probably just my favorite musical, period, bar none, end of sentence. Like it is horrifying because it's for those of you that don't know what this song is, it was inspired by a film called Johnny Got His Gun, directed by Dalton Trumbo back in 71 or something like that. And it's about a soldier who after being after being shelled or after being in an
shell shocked, or like
yeah,
just basically going through the motions of war.
He ends up losing his sight and his hearing as well as his limbs. And he's just basically a living. He's basically just living in death in the hospital bed, and the entire film is just, or not film. I'm talking about the movie now. I haven't even seen.
Oh, I mean, it is a short film in a sense.
Yeah, it is almost a short film. They use clips from the movie, from what I understand. Once again, haven't seen the movie, but I do believe those are clips from the actual film. And it's horrifying because it's this dude being he can't communicate with anyone, he can't hear anyone, and he doesn't know where he is or what's happening. He wants to die. Towards the end of the song, he's communicating in Morse code by like banging his head on the pillow, because that's all he can really do, saying, "Please kill me." It's horrifying. Some of the lyrics are haunting. The music in this, good God, the music in this is phenomenal. I'm not very I talk a lot about movies and my opinions there. I'm not as well educated in the realm of music, but if I have not heard better use of drums in a song ever, the dual kicking in that just sounds like gunfire. It's haunting, and it just gives me chills thinking about it. It's some of the greatest music in all of rock history, in all of just music history, in my opinion. And yeah, like the lyrics in it, like it's a 7 or 8 minute song. The lyrics end like a full minute and a half, like before the song ends, and it's just a song that gives me chills every time I see it. And I revisited the music video after submitting for this.
Yeah,
it blew me away once again. Once again, thank you to my mom for showing me this music video and the song. It's one that will stick with you.
So, one, props to your mom for showing you 90s grunge. I think for me, my mom was like definitely into like the soft rock, like your Eagles, like your Huey Lewis in the News. You mentioned your dad earlier about showing you Eminem. My dad, like, he was like the one person that I wasn't allowed to listen to was Eminem. Obviously, as a teenager, I rebelled against it and listened to it anyways. But yeah, I like the usage of the clips for the movie. I find it spaces out the song quite well, and like lets those softer moments, in particular the solo that Kirk Hammett does, like right before they kind of get it into the breakdown section. I think is really good, and how it kind of overlays over the dialogue that they're having. You mentioned that set that they're in, where it's just where the guy has the mask over his face, and it's hard to watch because especially with the opening lyrics of it as well. Like I can remember everything. I can't tell if this is true or real. The terrible silence that stops me. Just because like the worst enemy in in those moments is yourself. Like when there's nothing going on, you're just going back to those moments. I had a band teacher throughout high school that actually like what when in our grade 11 year he actually went off to go to Afghanistan and do the tour. And then when he came back in grade 12, like he said, like the two biggest things were like, if you see me going off in a 1,000-yard stare, just kind of like just let me do it for a second and then kind of remind me where I am. And then like he said the biggest thing that changed for him is that like nobody can be behind my back pretty well, because in fact that's just it's a different perspective. Also the video in particular, like Metallica was really well known for doing like the kind of the grayscale, but with a little tint of blue. I really like that aesthetic because it kind of makes it stand out from everything else. They would go on to kind of keep that style, and I like it. I do agree with you that Lars Ulrich is doing some really good work on the end of the song in terms of the beats. But it's funny that you say that, because going on later in his career, Lars gets a ton of slack for doing what's called like basically the sleeper beat, which is basically just like the hi-hat, snare, and drums, like just like that simple beat. And it's crazy because at the start of his career, he was going off the wall pretty well with his performance. James Hetfield as well, giving everything, and like especially when we get to like Darkness, Imprisoning Me, All That I See, Absolute Horror. And then it's that solo at the end really kind of just accentuates the madness that is going on with it. It's a great choice for a music video. Definitely tells or it adds to the story that's already being told. Get on to question number 6 though. Your favorite musical?
Yeah, so I came to musicals a little bit later. The first time I ever took interest in like theater, it was grade 11. My school was doing Les Miserables, and I thought, fuck it, I'll audition for this. I'll join musical theater for this. A lot of my friends at the time were in musical theater, so I thought, yeah, this is a great way to be able to spend more time with them and also kind of challenge myself. And it was sometime after grade 11. It was between grade 11 and grade 12, somewhere in there, that someone, like not a family member or like friend, someone I had met, pointed me in the direction of this musical set in this small Canadian town in Newfoundland during the fallout of 9/11. And it was a story that I had never heard of. Like, I had never heard of the town of Gander, Newfoundland. I had never heard of any of this, except 9/11, of course. But that's whatever. I heard of that. But this this musical, Come From Away, takes place in the small Canadian town of Gander, Newfoundland, which has one of the largest, or at one point had one of the largest airports in North America. Basically, planes from across the Atlantic would stop there to refuel, and then, but eventually that wasn't really needed anymore. So it was just this giant airport in a small town. 9/11 happens, and 38 planes that are in the Atlantic Ocean, like above the Atlantic in that area, are redirected to Gander, Newfoundland, and the small town of 8,000 people grows to like 16,000 overnight. Basically doubles overnight, and it's just about the people there, the people that are stuck there, and the confusion that arises. It's got some incredible music, music that like a type of music that I had never really heard before seeing this musical or listening to it. I listened to the soundtrack constantly. It was on regular rotation in my car, on my playlists. And then my family went to New York a couple years ago, and this is when they were still on Broadway. And in one of the last nights of us being there, I got the opportunity to see them perform that show, and that was one of the greatest experiences of my life. just seeing, and it had like a bunch of the original cast members, like the dude that plays Claude, the mayor of Gander, was still there. I can't remember the woman's name who played Beverly Bass, but she wasn't there.
Was it Sharon Wheatley?
It was like it was like Jen something, I think. I can't remember.
Beverly Batch.
Beverly Bass. But seeing songs like Me and the Sky performed, Welcome to the Rock performed live, it was incredible. It's got for a musical with such a tragic and honestly kind of terrifying premise.
Jen Colella is the name.
Yes, thank you. For a musical with such a terrifying and honestly haunting premise behind it of all these people stranded in this town because of 9/11 happening and the world not really knowing how to react. There is some genuinely beautiful moments. There are some genuinely funny moments. Like the I don't know if you've seen, like, have you seen the full like production of it or just?
I haven't. I've listened to the soundtrack.
Yeah, because there's
a bunch of episodes ago. Hank, the host, actually had this as his musical as well. So got a chance to check it out there. Yeah,
that's fair. There's some moments that like aren't in the soundtrack that are genuinely hilarious. There's some really beautiful moments, like Prayer, the song where people are trying to find you've got Ali, a Muslim man who's stuck there, and everyone's suspicious of him because he's Muslim. They find him a quiet place to pray. Some people are going to their churches, and everyone that song just brings tears to my eyes. And then you get songs that ramp up the tension, like On the Edge or Blankets and Bedding, which is just everyone being just everyone in absolute chaos, knowing nothing of what's going on. Just what can I do to help? It's a beautiful story, beautiful musical. I'm sorry, I kind of went on a rant here. It's just it's one that meant a lot to me, and yeah, it's kind of like the musical that got me into musicals after I like started looking into more of them. It's genuinely incredible.
Yeah, so the story is obviously very, very hard hitting. Just a happy little, like, obviously like a happy little accent, like of anywhere for them to land. I think Newfoundland is the best spot to be, just because of like that maritime sense of hospitality. Like anybody that comes into like any of the provinces here, you're treated like family. And that's what they're doing here. To give a sense of like how far off Gander is from like the big cities or whatever. So Gander is on like the northeastern corner of Newfoundland. It's about a 3.5 hour drive away from St. John's, which is like the capital and like the big city in the area. So there isn't really like a ton of options going on there. But there are some really incredible songs, like you already mentioned, like Welcome to the Rock, and I think the News does a really good job of it, just because of like East Coast Canadians in particular. I don't know how much it is. I guess in Alberta there would be a sense of it, just because of how many Newfoundlanders come over to Alberta from working in the oil patches and whatnot. Second to the French, Newfoundlanders are easily the most picked on. They're given like the stereotypical like fast talking accent. And I think they do a really good job of respecting their dialect, but not going ham fisted.
Not turning it into parody.
No, absolutely. Lead Us Out of the Night is another good one, but one that I really enjoy is In the Bars, Heave Away, because in that second half, it it reimagines this really popular like Irish drinking song, "Heave Away," and it's like starts off like "And get your nuts in order, because you're bound across the waters, heave away." I work at an Irish bar, and it's played there like 2 or 3 times a day, so it's just kind of become white noise. So I love whenever songs re-envision them or just kind of change up the lyrics enough to fit it with the story, because that song in essence is a kitchen party. It is Celtic folk music, which is kind of the mecca of music, especially in the Atlantic provinces, like the fiddle, the piano, the guitar, like a really like a kitchen party, if you will. I think I said it before. If you like this style of music and want to kind of continue on to listen to others, Great Big Sea is a band to really check out. They really kind of they encapsulate this style quite well. I do hope to see this just because of the all the kind of the feelings and like the how close to home it is. Like I'm thinking about it like a 10-hour ferry drive.
Okay.
Or like it'd be 9 hours to get to Cape Breton, which is like the island off of Nova Scotia, and then you take a ferry from there. I think it's about like 11 or 12 hours. But yeah, one other thing that I wanted to mention, and I wanted to see if you know, because the song after "In the Bar Heave Away" is "Screech In." Do you know what it means to be screeched in?
From what I understand, screech is the rum, like the rum that they drink for the honorary Newfoundlander ceremony in that. So that's all the context I have for whatever screech in is. That's just what I assumed it was, and then screech
Yeah.
out is the outro, but like the play out music.
So yeah, Screech In is kind of like the big touring that you do. It's basically the Newfoundlanders equivalent of moonshine, like this really strong alcohol. And then so you take a shot of that, and then what you do is you kiss a cod. And then you kind of become an official Newfoundlander. George Street in St. John's in particular is basically the equivalent of Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Just a line of bars going along. So if you ever get a chance, go visit Newfoundland, St. John's in particular. But yeah, great choice. As we get on to question number 7, your most overrated act. Now, knowing what group you are with, the team 19, or I guess they'd be like team 22 maybe at this point now.
Yeah.
This artist is right up their alley, but I guess not so for you. So who is it?
Look, maybe it's just the overexposure I've gotten from my sisters playing his music constantly in recent years, but I can't stand Harry Styles. I really can't. I'm sorry. This is the one that I'm like, I mean, this is the one that I'm like least passionate about. Like, I don't hate him, but I'm not a fan. Like his music, like I can listen to it once, and I'm like, yeah, that was fine, and then it starts to get played more and more over and over and over again, and it's something that I can't listen to. I respect like a lot of his earlier music. Like I kind of ironically liked One Direction when they were a thing, but like I prefer Niall Horan between the two. That's just me. I'm weird. Lily, my sister, biggest fan of Harry Styles, hates me for my opinions on him. Same with my sister Ella, but I don't know. This is just, it's not an artist that I really would go seek out. He exists and he's popular, and I get it. He's not for me.
So I agree with you. And if we're talking just off of like one individual song, I would say it's Niall Horan is also my favorite. Just because I think Slow Hands is such a great fucking song. I do share your sentiment for Harry Styles to an extent. Sign of the Times got overplayed to fuck, and it's a boring ass song. Because after, like, because there was one summer I was working at a job that I hated, and like they played it like twice within like a 4 hour span. I was like, I'm done with this song. It is not the summer anthem that everybody's kind of making it out to be. But the way that he has kind of evolved, especially with like his more upbeat songs, like Watermelon Sugar is a great one. Adore You is another great one as well. I think Late Night Talking took over the radio waves, kind of similar to what Sign of the Times was trying to do, and has this like big like David Bowie energy with the synth, and the tempo of it all. I think he's finally just kind of figured out what kind of artist he wants to be. And I will say as well, like One Direction definitely kind of gets the Nickelback treatment of like it's cool to hate on them, but then once you kind of get that time away from them and then go back, it's like, oh, they had some pretty good songs, and even their bigger singles was basically the same thing like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC were doing. So it's basically just sticking to formula, and it works. At the end of the day, you're trying to make money, and like that worked, and like that's how they were able to kind of split off and do their own things. But yeah, I understand, but I think he still has some. I think he still has some room to grow.
That's fair. That's fair.
Now, on to a completely different style. Favorite score? The fuck.
Yeah. So there were a few that I could have gone with. I could have gone with my stereotypical Middle Earth pick, picking any of the Lord of the Rings scores, probably Return of the King, but or I could have gone with my stereotypical John Williams ass pick and picked Schindler's List or any of the Harry Potters or like early ones anyway. Or there's a few things I could have gone with. However, there is not a score like the reason I love this score so much is because of how it works within the movie. I think you take the score out of Requiem for a Dream, that movie is all the lesser for it. This Clint Mansell and I think Kronos Quartet are the other people who composed it with him. It's very depressing. Like you start off strong with Summer Overture, and you get some good ones in there, and in the middle, I can see if it loses some people in the middle. It doesn't bug me, but then when you get to I think it's Winter Overture, whenever that last drop happens, like whenever the third act starts, it's basically nonstop. The score within the film, the score is basically a nonstop. Is basically there for the rest of the film. It's basically just one long montage of misery in this film, and the score brings that out. I feel like you take this score out of this movie, the movie does not work. It makes the movie for me. I get if it's not your thing. It's a lot of it's a lot. And there are a couple that repeats like that kind of repeat itself a little bit, but it changes itself just a little bit every time. So it's different, like Summer Overture versus Winter Overture. You get those two. One of them is completely different from the other, in my opinion. It's and I can never figure out how to pronounce that word, but Lux Aeterna or Aetherna, I don't Aeterna, I don't know. That song makes me tear up a lot. Like that piece of score, that especially after having seen the movie more than any sane person should, being able to just knowing everything that's happening during every moment in that one particular song it brings tears to my eyes, and it's one that affects me every time I listen to it. Like it's not one I will go back to a lot, but it's one that I would consider one of the best, and one that is just kind of one that affects me every time I listen to it. It's just one of those. And I get if that's not your thing. It's definitely a choice.
So the score I do think is the best part of it. Like the Summer Overture in particular is just it's a great theme. I do think that they lean on it like a little bit too much at times, just because it's that same melody, like do 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 do. I actually, like, whenever it first came on, I was like, I've heard this before. I hadn't seen the movie up until today, but I was like, I'm pretty sure it's in a commercial for like Nissan, or like one of those car commercials where it's the car like driving alongside of the cliff. It's just that big epic moment. So I was like, it's weird that you can play this song and it has the same energy as like almost like a sports hype package, but then you also get like these really kind of dark moments that are happening. The movie itself, I really liked how they have these differing relationships at the start. Like you have friggin' Jared Leto and Marlon Wayans as drug addicts, really kind of just like chasing the high and kind of living off life. And then you have Ellen Burstyn, who is watching this Michael McDonald video on loop and really kind of going into the trends of like the late 90s of like no sugar, no red meat, and like this is the success to life. And after denying that so much, and like because like there's a part in that movie where they go to the dietary guide, and it focuses in on like the no sugar and like everything, and like that eats at you for so long. And then she eventually goes to her friend. She's like, oh, well, I got like my friend had this pill and she's losing like 25 pounds or whatever. And then she goes down that path. What I do like about that recurring theme, I like the sense of almost release that you get from him at times. Like I think it's after the first time that Jennifer Connelly and Keith David hook up for the first time, and then she's just running out of the elevator because she's after that moment she's looking to escape. And I love how Darren Aronofsky does the kind of the close-ups of like, it's like it never shows them like using the drugs or whatever. It's all these close-ups, but then it has like the what's the word I'm looking for? The thing that you get, not the endorphins, but the oh my god, what the frig is this called? But like the thing that rushes to your head whenever you finally get the dopamine. When you the dopamine finally comes, and like you see the eyes kind of dilate, and I like that style. I find this is pretty soft, I guess, for Darren Aronofsky, like especially after seeing like The Whale and hearing everything about Mother. This seems dialed back even for his standards. I don't get the sense of like the Christianity kind of aspect that you would see in a lot of his later films.
Yeah, he hasn't delved into the whole religion part yet. This is very early for him.
Yeah. One other part that I did like as well, and I actually wish they did more of it. That scene where it's him and Marlon Wayans at the diner, and it's him grabbing the gun from the cop, and you get this really like effect heavy guitar, almost similar to like what you would get from a David Fincher movie, like Fight Club. Yeah. Just like kind of like that techno kind of style. I wish they kind of leaned into that a little bit more. But no, it's a great theme. I would definitely have it in the conversation for top 10. But no, pleasantly surprised by it. It was a good watch. There's some really cool performances in it. But yeah, on to question number 9. Your favorite soundtrack. Now I have seen, actually, I really enjoy this movie. So whenever you pop this on, I was like, yes. We get to talk about some pretty cool needle drops.
Hell yeah. And that is what I love most about this movie, if I'm being honest, is maybe the needle drops. So yes, the movie I picked is Bad Times at the El Royale. It's one of my favorite films. It's got some incredible needle drops, but it's how the music is. I love that clip. It's how the music is used in the film that makes the soundtrack great, in my opinion. Because you've got, I'm trying to remember the name. So when Billy Lee, for example, first shows up, they play this like very light, kind of upbeat, in a sense, like a lighter song called, I believe, 12:30. I can't remember.
Or is it 26 miles?
No. When Billy Lee first shows up, he's walking in the rain, like arms stretched out and everything. I'm gonna pull the soundtrack up right now because this is gonna bother
I don't see anything similar to 12:30. Would it be? Is it Bend Me, Shape Me?
No, it's 12:30. And then in brackets, young girls are coming to the canyon. It's
Okay.
between Baby I Love You and The Letter.
Oh, it's not showing up on. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I see it there. Yeah, 12:30. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's like this. It's this lighter song that you wouldn't typically associate with the introduction to the villainous character. Instead, later on in the movie, for some reason, it's not included on the soundtrack album on Spotify. But I believe it was a Deep Purple song. I can't remember the name of the song. But it starts with like a wolf howling. He plays it on the jukebox when they're all gathered in the casino area, gonna play roulette.
Okay.
That's the kind of one you would maybe associate with like the entrance of like a villain, in my opinion. But it's how each song is used in this film that I love. The movie itself is brilliant, in my opinion. The screenplay is one of the best I've seen in the last like 20 years of movies. I love the performances. Lewis Pullman in particular is great. Also Jeff Bridges, Cynthia Erivo. Chris Hemsworth shows up and delivers. He's incredible in this like third act villain role he has. He's just a despicable character that you love to hate. He has that charismatic cult leader energy, and he does that well. And it's really weird to say about him because he's the guy who maybe not his biggest role is the God of Thunder, Thor, one of the like heroes of the MCU, and to see him in like this cult leader type role is jarring, or was jarring the first time I saw it in the theater. The music itself, fantastic, especially 26 Miles at the very beginning. This Old Heart of Mine, when Cynthia Erivo was singing with Dakota Johnson on the other side of the glass.
Yeah.
That scene in particular, that's got to be my favorite scene. Different channel, but when we did top 100 scenes of all time, that was an omission on mine that I wish I could remedy. In multiplex like that scene is perfect. You got Jeff Bridges in that. It's incredible. I love that scene so much. It would definitely make my list now. Yeah, it's just once again, it's how the songs are used in the movie that I love. It just makes the soundtrack for me, and the soundtrack in turn also kind of makes the movie for me. I'm kind of rambling now. You can just talk.
Yeah, no, it's an unreal movie. I am a sucker for John Hamm. He is my man crush. Just an excellent performance. I also love Lewis Pullman, his character arc in it, because I think I wrote into my review how they have this they started off with like, oh, like confession is like this dumb thing that doesn't really solve anything. And I remember being like, ha, Drew Goddard is poking fun at Christianity. And then at the end of it ends with him dying and like confessing his sins. He's like, oh, well, now I can die happy. And it's like damn it, you closed off that arc. But the scenes in particular, or the song in particular, that I really enjoyed using was Bernadette. I just the raw emotion that kind of carries on to that. The scenes in particular that I really enjoyed. One was the opening where it's Nick Offerman, and it's kind of almost like almost the syllabus of like, here's everything that's about to happen in this movie in about 2 minutes, and just the editing of that scene is incredible. But the monologue. The monologue that Cynthia Erivo has, and like especially when like this movie came out in 2018, which is a little bit after the Me Too movement, and just kind of it was a release of just everything that had happened about that was great, and just how she delivers that. But you also have like like he's a rebel. I got a feeling as well. Like the Four Tops appear on here a couple of times as well. If I got a feeling, and then 26 miles. The only question that I have to you, because when this movie comes up, a lot of people reasonably compare it to Pulp Fiction. What would you say separates this from Pulp Fiction?
That's actually an interesting question, because I don't know if I've ever compared the two in my head. I will say I like the contained nature of this story a little bit more than the almost I don't want to say sprawling, like epic nature of Pulp Fiction, because that is still a pretty contained film, but you get most of this story is contained to the hotel, the El Royale, whereas Pulp Fiction you get Zed and the basement, you get the overdose sequence, which is in a couple locations. You get a lot of different. You get the boxing match and everything. The motel with the, and you get the diner. This one, like, yeah, there are scenes that take place outside of the hotel, but for the most part, it's pretty contained, and like, they're both incredible films. Like Pulp Fiction, one of Tarantino's best. Although I'm partial to Reservoir Dogs. But like, and I haven't seen Cabin in the Woods, but I doubt it.
Go watch Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is fucking unreal. If you love horror, if you love horror movies in general, like I think that's all I really want to say about it, because it like, I guess in the trailer they kind of allude to like the comedy-esque nature of it, but just how they go off on that. I think it's a really cool way.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things, and like I think I've kind of deciphered, like no one has just straight up told me this is the twist of the movie, but just being on the internet in the last like decade, I feel like I've kind of like pieced together kind of what happens in the movie, and that's kind of like put me off from actually watching it. But I want it's on the list. It's one I want to get to. I just haven't had like an excuse or an opportunity to see it yet. But yeah,
all right.
Pulp Fiction, still excellent, but I like the contained nature of Bad Times at the El Royale.
I've yet to finish Pulp Fiction from start to finish. I tried to throw it on one night, and then I fell asleep partway through. But yeah, I'm a sucker for Tarantino. Reservoir Dogs is an incredible one. Inglourious Basterds, I think, was my first was my first viewing of his films, and I was like, I'm fucking sold. But on to our last question, your favorite song to perform and sing. Now, when I heard this song, I was like, this doesn't sound like a song that Jack would pull out of his repertoire. But I got to hear the story. Why did you pick this song?
So, fun story. Not so fun for me. In high school, I can't remember what we read, but we had to create like we had a group project. We had to create something for the book we had just read, and me, my buddy, and my buddy Chris, and another buddy of ours, Riley, we were in a group, and Chris was like, "Hey, what if we did this?" And it's he introduced me to the musical of Jekyll and Hyde and the song Confrontation, which is I Can Explain. Basically, it's this song is, and it's now one of my favorite musicals ever. Jekyll and Hyde, phenomenal. This song is the big confrontation between the two halves of Dr. Jekyll. Jekyll and Hyde, just in general, is one of my favorite stories. It was one of my favorite books, like growing up. Like I read it in like elementary school and was like really taken with it. I thought it was fantastic. But this musical does a lot for the story. I think it like, I'm not trying to say, oh, the musical's better than the book or anything like that. I think I think it has a lot of improvements upon the source material, and that's something that I always respect when something's able to do, like take something that's already great and make it better. I prefer the musical. That's just me. This song is one dude performing both halves of the character. You get Jekyll basically reflecting on everything that he has done over the course of the musical, and basically he's about to he's yeah performed by Anthony Warlow. Yes, he's about to take the serum and like basically effectively kill Hyde, like kind of merge the two halves of him forever. Kill Hyde so that people will be safe. The story, I kind of got away from that. I was supposed to be dubbed. I cannot sing for shit. The person that was supposed to be my dubbing person, whatever they're supposed to be called, could not.
That's awesome, because my initial question was going to be, do you do both voices? But now that you said that, like,
I do. And here's the thing: at the time, I'm still tone deaf, but at the time, I couldn't sing for shit. I improved. Between grade 11 and 12, I did improve, and my vocal coach in theater pointed that out and made me feel really happy. But I did improve, and it's one that I can. I'm still not good at it, but when it's on a couple of my playlists in my car, and it is just so much fun to kind of just go back and forth with these two sides. You've got some great moments in this between Jekyll and Hyde, and it's a lot of fun to perform. So yeah. Anyway, I knowing that I wasn't able to be dubbed, I went. I said, "Hey, yeah, can I use the washroom?" And I went to the washroom for a few minutes. Riley knew what I was trying to do, and he stalled somehow for 5 minutes and was able to once I got back, be like, "Oh, look, I fixed it," and then press play. He's like, "You're not getting out of it." So I had to suffer through that, and it was pain. So yeah, I was supposed to be dubbed, but I was not, and that will never see the light of day again, because I hope to God Riley deleted that. That was pain. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to belt out, and also Anthony Warlow in this song is fantastic. Incredible vocals in this. Anyway, yeah, I kind of went on a few tangents there.
It's my favorite part of the show is getting to see people just talk so passionately about why they love it. I really like this song. Like, if you're a sucker for good villain songs, like the big strings and the grandeur of it all is what I really enjoy, and you get the duality, especially in his change in voice. The two things the one thing really that I wanted to pitch on is the musical choice whenever they're ending certain lines, like you get to the lines of like "You will never get away from me" or like after night I shall end this demon dream." They have the melody line, but then they go down on the note from the key that it's in, and it really kind of creates this tension or like this ability to not get away from these two characters. And then you get some really kind of finality when you get to the line of like, "And I'll rejoice as you breathe your final breath," and you hear him hit that big note of like, oh, like it's over, like this, like these two are going to be one now. But it does everything that you kind of love about the musicals. You have the kind of the descent of strings at the end that had the kind of like that teases a key change, but then goes right back into it as well. But yeah, I had never heard the musical before. I never read the book. We were pretty straightforward in high school, like To Kill a Mockingbird, The Outsiders, that sort of deal. But yeah, this story seems right up my alley, especially given like kind of like the dual personality kind of persona of it all. But great choice to end the show. The two encore questions that I have for every guest. Number one, who are you currently listening to that people need to check out? And number two, who is somebody that you'd like to see, who's somebody that you'd like to hear on the set list?
Ooh, well, I've not been listening to a ton of new music. I've been re-listening to a lot lately. I've been listening to more podcasts recently. However, a song that I came to a little bit later, and I want to check out more of her music. Her name is M. Behold, I believe. The song that I had heard of hers is called "Numb Little Bug," which that song affected me deeply. It's one that I have to thank Cameron Holzman for showing me that song one night on call. It's just it's one that really connected with me, and in more ways than I care to admit. It's just it's a song that it makes me want to listen to more of her discography. But very depressing lyrics to it. It's a very but you know, I'm the person that has seen Requiem for a Dream 8 times. I think.
8 times.
Yeah, I think so. You can see it on my Letterboxd. It's somewhere. So you know, depressing is kind of my vibe. So yeah, I would love to like. I haven't. I believe. Yeah, Spence shared their episode with me. I believe. I never got to listen to the full thing, but I would love to hear. Oh, who would I love to hear? There's a few people. Has Caleb Boatman been on?
No, but I want to get him
I
on
would
here.
love to hear Caleb Boatman's music taste, because I know he's a big New Radicals guy, and like you get what you give and whatnot. So like but that's kind of it for music taste I know from Boatman. So like I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, the reason that I want him on is I want an excuse to deep dive Elvis, because I know he's a big fan of his, and I've always kind of been like, there's other people that kind of do his style a little bit better, but
that's fair. Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to see an episode with Boatman on. He's a lot of fun to talk to, just in general.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, thank you, Jack, for coming on. It was great to talk Tragically Hip. Always great to discover well, not new movies, but just movies that I would never come across or not like intentionally kind of throw on. So Requiem for a Dream was always a good time. Check out like 500 Stones season 3. I think when this goes up, we'll be getting into are like 200 to like 150 range of shows. So we're really getting into like into the big hitters there. But yeah, cheers, guys, and as always, drive safely.